This week I'm going to bring you with me over the next 2 hours as I rush through some farm jobs before milking this evening. And as we go, I'm going to take you through the farm performance. So we are going to cover the herd performance. How is the feeder wagon working out? Do I have enough silage left until the end of the year? What are my beef cattle making in the factory? How is my herd fertility going? And we will even touch on farm financial performance. All of that whilst I try and get all of the work done because my dad's away for 2 days on his holidays. The first job we have to do is also the worst job we have to do, which is put on 40 milk recording bottles. Normally, I always get someone else to help me do this job, but I forgot about it this morning and there's no one here now until milking this evening, so we are doing it ourselves. I'll just set the camera up there to get a good shot. Right there, is that too low? That's too low. I'm tall, I'm not that short, that's better. So when it comes to herd performance, at the minute, I honestly couldn't be happier. Cows are doing over 30 litres, which is up 3.5 litres on this time last year. Now we are feeding a lot more meal this year. We're feeding 4.5 kilograms a cow extra, but it still is easily paying for itself. We are getting £1.60 a day more milk per cow, and we are spending £1.15 per day extra on meal. You really don't want to drop these, they're very fragile. And when you factor in that that extra meal is replacing some silage that you would otherwise have to pay for, we're better off by about 55p per cow per day, which adds up to about £80 a day extra profit. That is definitely a pretty good result considering the fact at the start of the autumn we are faced with having to buy extra silage. We'll get to whether we're still going to have to do that later on in the video. There is even more good news when it comes to milk quality. Our butterfat is up 15 points to an average of 4.5% at the minute, and our protein is up 10 points to 3.55%. And we also have currently got the lowest cell counts that we've ever seen in January. So like I said, all in all, herd performance, I'm pretty happy. So that's what's going well with the herd, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows. I have a sneaking suspicion that my fertility is not going to be as good as last year. And last year wasn't particularly good either. And the cows I have scanned a few weeks ago, they performed okay, but I am definitely AIing a lot of cows that are now repeating for the second or third time. And it definitely feels like it's different to previous years. And also worryingly, them cows seem to be the ones giving the most milk. So I have half a suspicion that whilst we're getting a lot of extra milk, it is having a negative impact on our fertility, but I'm not going to know that until we scan, which is probably not going to happen until towards the end of February, which is like next week, so probably the start of March. Right, I have 5 bottles done. I'm just going to get on and get this finished. I know you're going to think I'm just being dramatic, but doing that job yourself absolutely sucks. I'm meant to be going for a long run this evening, and at the minute, that's ruined me. It's not going to be an option. Anyway, it's done. Let's go do our next job. Next thing we have to do this evening is push in all the silage and make sure everything has silage to do them until the morning. And whilst we're here, I'll take a quick look at the cows to make sure there's none in heat. All seems pretty quiet to me. Trying to do this with one hand is difficult. I'm not normally this slow. I honestly never understand why people feel they need a silage pusher when you can just drive up and down with a bucket. It does pretty much exactly the same job. I would love to understand why there's a bull and an old suck cow eating out of a bag of meal. What the? They're out of the beef house. Who put them in here? Calvin. I bet it was Calvin. Why did no one say anything? That is so confusing. We'll put them back where they're meant to be. Do we close the door and then close these gates? Or do we just hope they don't get out until we come back? I think we'll take a risk. We'll hope they don't get out. No, he's actually trying to get out. Frick! Stay in! Stay in! Stay in! He lets you around every single field. I am so confused as to who put them in there. I don't understand. I see what's happened now. Someone couldn't get this gate open enough, so they couldn't chase them back into the pen themselves. So instead, they closed them in there until they got help. By the way, I didn't put all this silage in. That was also someone else. Don't ask. Let's move all this silage, then open the door fully, then put them back in the pen. And we don't need help, unlike whoever decided to stick them in there with a bag of meal. Okay, I have good news. I've figured the mystery out. See this gate here? I was wondering where this came from. That is one of the gates from our beef house. But as you can see, it was definitely non-red tractor approved. So clearly someone has been here to replace it. And when they were replacing this gate, somehow the old suck cow and her calf escaped from this pen. But it still doesn't really explain why they didn't put them back into the pen. There must have been more than one person putting that gate on. I don't know. Point is, it wasn't Calvin's fault. I apologise to Calvin. I honestly just blame him for stuff now, just as the meme. Beef cattle performance-wise, they're actually doing okay. The price of beef is pretty crazy at the minute. And everyone seems to think the price is just going to keep going up. We do have a few bull calves to sell, but we do have less than a lot of other years because we sold a lot of young bull calves when we were open from TB like 14 months ago. But we probably have 20 or 30 to sell over the next few months, and at about £1,500 a piece, that adds into quite a lot of money. How much profit are we going to make on that £45,000 of beef sales? Probably not a lot, but it's better to make something than lose a lot of money. And when you live in Northern Ireland and you're plagued with TB, you don't really have a choice but to keep a beef herd. So if we can make a little bit of money and cope with having TB better, the beef herd is definitely still worth it. And we have another mystery. The gate won't close. The gate always closes. So that's why they weren't put back in the pen. There's time for this today. Wait, if I I can move the hanger. I can move the hanger. So we should be okay if I can just keep this gate up in the air. Don't worry, I am a genius. I will figure this out. So that's going to keep it up in the air. I can hold it there with one hand. Then I'll set my camera down. Okay, so we're going to pivot the gate on this bar to lift it up in the air, and we're going to hold it. Hold it. No. Oh, it's getting harder to hold. And then push in. I think we've managed it. Yes. Got it. Why was there so much silage put in here today? Don't understand. The beef cattle are currently on our 4th cut silage, and they are getting about 2.5 kilograms of blend and 2 kilograms of soya hulls every day. Next up this afternoon, let me give you a silage update. For those of you who have been following along for a couple of months, back in October I realised I was going to be really short of silage. And my solution, my plan to deal with that was to start using a feeder wagon for the first time ever. Now, I have always been a feeder wagon skeptic. Siloking has converted me. Not only did I get all that extra performance and save the 2 ton of silage a day I needed to save, but contrary to what I believed, it has not taken me any extra time to feed my animals. And honestly, from chatting to people over the last few months, I think that final part about how long it's taking me to do the job is down to the feeder wagon which Kverneland and Siloking kindly give me on demo for the last 5 months. It just does a fantastic job. You don't have to wait for it to mix or chop, even if you're using a lot of straw, and it feeds out super fast. At the minute, we're getting 7 tonne of 30% dry matter silage into this thing, which is enough to feed our 170 cows. And it is entirely because of that Siloking that we still have some first cut silage left. Now granted, there's not a lot of first cut silage left, but at the minute I'm mixing in about 2/3 first cut with 1/3 fourth cut to feed my dairy cows. And this will last us probably until the start of March, which is where it needed to be for us not to run out of silage before the springtime. So that's our first cut. There's not a lot left. Let me go show you our fourth cut and our second cut. And bear in mind, when I show you this, we are a grazing herd. So when we get out to grass around the 20th of March, our grass silage demand does decrease by quite a lot. So don't panic too much when you see just how little silage we have left. I would guess there's probably about 50 tonne at the back of that silage pit. There's about 10 or 12 days at the rate that I'm currently mixing it. And we have about another 600 tonne in here. Again, it really doesn't look like a lot of silage for 450 animals, but we do try and get out and graze pretty early. Regarding silage quality, I showed you the first cut a few weeks ago, 11.7 ME, really good protein, really good dry matter. One of the best first cut silages I've probably made in the last 4 or 5 years. And whilst I haven't actually sampled our fourth cut silage yet, and it definitely is a little bit wetter than I would have liked, probably around 23 or 24% dry matter, the cows do seem to be milking really well of it. And it just looks and smells like really, really nice silage. It actually smells like amazing silage. It's got that lovely like hay smell to it. I will get this sampled next week. I'm gonna guess it's also pretty close to 11.7 ME, which I know is a big ask for fourth cut, but I've been adding more and more into the Siloking, and honestly, I haven't seen the milk yield do anything but continue to increase. So I'm gonna assume it's pretty close in feed value. Am I worried about running out of silage this year? I'm not, but I'm definitely going to have next to nothing left going into next year. Our final job for this afternoon before milking time is to wash the JCB and wash the Quickie Sheargrab. I think they're coming to take this back next week. The original agreement was, there's more metal. Where'd that come from? What? Is that new or is that an old frame? I think that's new. I don't know what that's for. Back to the Sheargrab. It was meant to be here for like 2 weeks. I've had it now for like 3 months, but apparently they're coming to take it back next week. And whilst I never said I would do a review video on this, I said it would just be in the background of videos. I've actually liked it so much that I am going to make a proper review video of it. It will be on the other platform, which has like shorter videos, but I'll give you a really quick summary. Would I buy it? Absolutely. Why am I not buying it? Because I already have a perfectly good functional Sheargrab and I need to stop buying everything I get on demo. The things I like most about the Quickie is the replaceable parts, such as the cutting edge here, the teeth which just bolt on and off, and the actual blades which also bolt on and off. No hate to my Johnson Sheargrab, but the engineering in this thing is just in a totally different league. Like, the rams are easily twice the size. And whilst my Johnson Sheargrab will hold 800 kilograms at a push, this thing will hold 1.2 tons of silage if you take a proper grab. There's lots more stuff I want to say about it, but I don't want to ruin the video I'm going to make tomorrow. I will finish by just saying, if you are in the market for a Sheargrab, price a Quickie. And I don't have to say that. I have no reason to say that. I just like good, well-engineered products, and I am more than happy to give people that advice. Right, let's go get this all washed. And whilst we do that, let's talk some numbers. Some financial numbers. I ran out of time this afternoon, so let's just do this the easy way. That was definitely not seamless. That is definitely a big improvement. I think this will make a good thumbnail because you all love a bit of machinery. Anyway, it's 4 o'clock. I have to go get ready for milk cording before the 2 people arrive to do it this evening. I'm going to leave the financial run through of the current setup on the farm until tomorrow morning. So I'll catch up with you then. I've had a busy morning, but I have one job left to do, which is to mix a batch of feed for our beef animals and our heifers. So as we do that, let's talk through the farm finances. I'm going to keep this fairly simple, like a top level view of where the money is going at the minute. And I'm going to do it in pence per litre, but on our farm, 1 pence per litre is around £15,000. So you can kind of convert back and forth in your head if you really want to. And these figures are not all totally up to date, but not a lot has changed with prices since I done the calculation like 2 or 3 months ago, so it should all still be fairly accurate. First time I need the air conditioning and not the heat in a couple of months. So the headline figure is that our cost of production is still around 27 to 28 pence per litre. And when I tell you that the average price we're paid is 46 pence per litre, you may think that means we're making an absolute fortune. But it's not that simple. On top of that 27 pence a litre, you also then have to add about another 10 pence a litre to cover the money that me and my father take out of the farm and also the repayments on loans. So our real cost of production in cash terms is around 37 to 38 pence per litre. That's the milk price we need to avoid going into debt. So that does mean at the minute there is still pretty healthy margins within dairy farming. But again, there's a caveat to that. And the caveat is farmers never hold on to profit. They always spend it. Put this into high gear because we're going to be chopping some straw today. I had taken straw out of the diet for the heifers and beef animals, but I just got a load delivered this morning and it's really, really good straw, so I'm going to start feeding some again just to try and take a little bit more pressure off our silage stocks. So whilst I have just said our cost of production is around 37 pence a litre, it's actually higher than that, simply because we spent money last year because we had surplus cash. An example would be that we probably spent 3 to 4 pence a litre on draining and reseeding fields last year. And then you need to take off another 3 or 4 pence for tax, and you're getting very close to that 45 or 46p, which we are currently being paid. The easiest way to summarise everything I've just said is that a farmer's cost of production does somewhat track the price they're being paid. If the price is really bad, of course a farmer's cost of production cannot go below a certain amount, but when farmers are paid more money, they do tend to spend it. So could I survive at 36, 37, 38p? Yes, I could, but that would be zero investment and zero spending. At the current level we're being paid, it gives us some flexibility to spend some money to invest back into the farm and do things like drain fields. Where have I left the JCB? Quick check that there's no more cows calved. There's a lot coming very close to calving, as you can see. So that's our cost of production, but that is also then detached from cash flow. And this is really where farming finances get pretty confusing. This is the straw I got today. Actually amazing. Probably the best straw I've got in years, to be honest. It's English straw and I bought it by the ton. No offence to all my Irish viewers, but buying straw by the bale is so dumb. You're always ripped off if you buy straw by the bale. I am so annoyed how dirty that window is after I just washed it yesterday. And this time, it genuinely is Calvin's fault. I'm not sure what he could have done about it, but he was the one who went to the out farm this morning and it ended up like this. Cash flow is basically how much money you have in the bank. And it can vary a lot from your profit. And for us on this farm, November, December and January are by far the worst months for cash flow. It's for a variety of reasons, but mainly because of tax, because of when our conacre is due to be paid, and because of when people come and get contracting bills. And for this business, we need about 80 to 100,000 pounds to cover the cash flow deficit over the winter months. There is other factors as well, like smaller milk checks. We're not selling beef animals until the springtime. We sell heifers in the springtime. There's a lot of factors, but the point is, you can be profitable, but your cash flow can still be an absolute mess. We're going to leave that chop in the straw whilst we go and fill the bucket with meal. It is currently 1:38, so we'll see how long this all takes, see how long it takes to add in the rest of the silage, and then I will show you the results of the chopped straw. So that's the last bit of silage just tipped in. Let's go see what it's like. It is 1:47. By the time I get out and turn, it'll be completely mixed and ready to feed out. The rattle is the guard, is nothing damaged. So to summarise the financial performance on the farm currently, I would say that profitability is good, but cash flow is bad. But because profitability is good, that cash flow issue is expected and it's short term. So we should feel like we're actually making money over the next 4 to 5 months going forward. There's forks somewhere. Oh, I'm about to reverse into them. I think I'll get past, it's pretty close. Don't hit them, don't hit them, don't hit them. Oh, that is close. Who left the forks there? They're idiots. It was me, it was me. So let's summarise everything we've just chatted about and bring this video to a conclusion. The herd is performing well. Both milk yield and quality are up and cell count is down. I am very pleased with how we have managed our silage shortage, and we are not going to run out, so long as we get a reasonably early spring. Our beef cattle are very profitable because of the beef price, not because they're a particularly good business decision. And whilst our cost of production has increased a lot over recent years and sits at a fairly high level of about 36 to 37 pence, the price of milk is also good, which means that it is profitable at the minute to produce milk. But just because it's profitable across the whole year doesn't mean that it will feel profitable all the time, and that is definitely true for our business over the last 3 months. We have been going backwards in terms of the amount of money in our bank account. 153 and the feeder wagon's empty. Just in case you thought I'd left a 20-minute gap somewhere in the middle. Let's go see how well the Siloking chopped the straw in the 10 minutes that we gave it. Hope you enjoyed that little bit of an update, and it gives you some idea as to how our farm business is going at the minute. Overall, things are going pretty well, and once we get to the springtime, I get back in the fields, I get the cows out. As long as the milk price stays fairly good, I think it's going to be a good year. Please don't tell me I've jinxed that. Oh, shouldn't have said that, should I? Let's look at this before we finish. This is 10 minutes of chopping. What do you think? Good or bad? I mean, I'm pretty happy with that. Anyway, thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't liked the video, please do subscribe. If you haven't, apparently that helps. And if you have any comments, stick them down below. We are getting very, very close to getting back out in the fields. And hopefully next week's video is going to be about sowing the first fertilizer of the year. I cannot wait. Yeah. Cleans out so well also. Before you all ask, I'm probably going to buy this, but don't tell Siloking or Covernland. Still have to negotiate the price with them. So I need to appear slightly not keen.